I'm Dr. Elizabeth Medlock, psychologist and ICF certified professional coach. Welcome to Transformation Toolbox, a podcast focusing on practical, research-based strategies to reimagine, revitalize, redesign, and reinvent your life and career. Look, navigating obstacles and changes and transitions can be overwhelming and challenging, but there are always multiple solutions and paths open to us. So let's talk about ways to get unstuck, move forward, and live your best life. Good afternoon. Welcome to Transformation Toolbox, or welcome back. I hope you're coming back. As you know, I like to get started in our hectic day with kind of a second to calm down and get ready to listen to the topic today. Our topic is positive emotion. So what I want you to do before we get started is just take a deep breath wherever you're at. And I want you to visualize in your mind's eye the people that you love. Just think about the faces, put them in your mind of one or two or three people that you love in the world and that love you back. And then I want you to just take a second to be grateful for those people. Okay, let's dive in. Those of you that have been listening know that we've been covering the PERMA model from Dr. Martin Seligman, which are the 5 pillars of well-being and also of positive psychology. So we've covered positive emotion, we've covered engagement, and today we're covering the R in PERMA, which is relationships, which really Seligman says is positive relationships, because some of our relationships aren't so positive. And today I have a special guest on the show, which is my 19-year-old daughter, who'll be joining me after the first break to talk a little bit about kind of generational differences and how we build and sustain relationships in this new world of kind of fast moving social media technology and the different ways we connect. We're going to talk about that with her because I'm always fascinated of how the kids, convey emotion through text messaging. Still can't figure that out. So she'll be on to talk about that. So I think when we talk about relationships and connection, we all know that we're wired to be in relationships. We cannot live literally, physically, emotionally, mentally, and be healthy without other human beings. We're meant to be in communities of support, love, encouragement. And I think if you think about everything, not everything, but a lot of things that we write about, we sing about, we talk about, the things we watch on television, the books that we read are all about relationships and connections to others. I'm thinking about everything from Maya Angelou has a poem called Alone that says nobody but nobody can make it out here alone, to songs like, think just about the Beatles. I mean, all you need is love to, I get by with a little help from my friends. It's all over. It's all over our universe that we live in relationship and connection with others. And I think when you think about those things in your life, when you look back at the things that bring you the most joy, the things that build your memories, the things that you regret sometimes are all in relationship with others. The times that you had with friends and family, the things that you wish you would have said or not said to someone who's passed away. It's all about those relationships that we have. So I think we all kind of know how important relationships are and that we can't really live without them. So we're talking about positive relationship. So what do we mean when I say the words positive relationships? Because not all relationships are sunny and glorious. A positive relationship is any relationship you have with another human that it feels one mutual, so it goes both ways. There's reciprocity, there's give and take, and everybody benefits. There's not someone always on the take, not someone always doing the giving, so that it feels unbalanced. That's typically not a positive relationship. It's a relationship in which you feel that you're being supported, you're being valued, that there's help involved, that there's maybe information involved, that there's intrigue, there's excitement, usually in positive, healthy relationships. They're informative, they're engaging. And I think the most important thing is when you have a positive relationship, again, that's mutually beneficial, that you feel heard, you feel seen, you feel valued, and you feel supported. It's all those things that form our positive relationships. And because of those positive relationships, there are so many benefits to being in relationship to other people. Really, without them, our lives are not as rich and meaningful because it's those relationships that you have, those positive, healthy relationships, whether they be with your family, which could be biological, or the family you decide to form, doesn't have to be, or friends or coworkers or whoever, whatever humans show up in your life. What they do is they're the people that kind of put that protective bubble around us and support us through all the times of adversity that we have in our lives, the times of trauma, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. It's those people that we're in positive relationships with that help us navigate those times, that help us get through those times. I like to think about it as kind of a safety net, because there are times in my life when I felt like I didn't have one, and I think we've all felt that way. But picture yourself, you're kind of walking on a high wire, on that tightrope of life. It's tough. A heavy breeze can blow you over. You are kind of shaking and wiggling. The path is not easy. But if you fall, there'll be a safety net of human beings, of relationships, of people that will catch you when you fall. And that's what people do. They catch you when you fall. They're the people that say, I've got you. Those beautiful words, I've got you, or I've got your back. That's what they do for us in times of crisis, in times of adversity. But they also, I think, show us who we are. And think about it. A lot of the purpose in our lives and the meaning in our lives come from our relationships with other. Today we're going to have on my daughter. I get a lot of purpose and meaning in relationship as of my daughter as mother. I think when you ask people to describe themselves, I did this recently, and some of the first things they say when they say, what words describe you? People will start with, I'm a wife, I'm a partner, I'm a mother, I'm a friend. All those words are talking about who we are in relationship to others. So a lot of our joy, our purpose, our meaning, how we see ourselves is through the lens of other people. And because of that, it leads us to live healthier, longer lives. So, those people that have good relationships, that have positive relationships, that have beautiful people in their lives, they are physically healthier. You live longer. I think a lot of people know that research that married people live longer. It's annoying, but they do. I'm not married, but I'm still going to live a long time, I hope. But people that are married or in healthy relationships live longer, so there's less mortality risk. There's reduced stress. There's less depression. Um, Actually, another interesting thing is you have better health habits. This goes back to having an accountability partner. Many of you have heard that term. When you're trying to do something like I'm trying to exercise, or I'm trying to quit eating badly, or I'm trying to go to the gym 3 times a week, you have those people in your life, your close relationships. If you say, hey, can you hold me accountable for that? Can you check to make sure I went? Can you go with me? So having those people as accountability partners are health habits. We have healthier health habits when we have good relationships with other people. So there's a lot of positive benefits of having healthy, positive relationships. I think we've said a lot about relationships. There's so much, again, in the literature and every show you watch, and probably every other podcast you listen to. It's about relationships with other people because they're core to life. I want to point out 4 things that I don't think get mentioned a lot. The first thing is with your close circle of people, whoever they may be, call them close ties, your inner circle. It's quality and not quantity. I think that what some people don't realize, it is not a contest where we're out racking up the most number of relationships and friends we could have. Like, dude, I have like 15 friends. No, it's not about that. It's quality, because the literature has found consistently that if you have just one or two people that are your what we call now ride or dies. They always have your back. They're always there to support you. They are going to help you navigate in any time of crisis. My friends and I used to say this when we were going through really stressful times and you forget to eat and sleep. They're the people that are going to put food in your mouth. They're going to say, "Did you eat?" So your ride or die friends or family members, just having one or two of those people can have healthy positive effects. It doesn't have to be 10. It just has to be one or two. So I want you to know that. The other thing is, I think we discount is the power of the outer circle. And that is our communities, our social and civic institutions, and all those other things that we can be involved in. They're called weaker ties, or the outer circles that we revolve in our workplace, our communities, our kids' schools, the gyms that we go to, the churches that we're in. What research has found, and I had my doctorate in clinical community psychology. So, as also a community psychologist, I understand the power of that, of having those weaker ties and that connectivity on that level of being involved. Um, that means that when you go to the gym or when you go to your church or when you go to the library or when you ride on public transportation, that you know people, you talk to people, you have conversations with people so that they may not be close friends, but that you have people that you see on a regular basis, they know who you are, and you're connecting with them in all these different realms. Maybe pickleball. Everyone plays pickleball. I heard there was professional pickleball today. So the people you play pickleball with, those are in your kind of outer circle. And it's important to have a lot of folks that form those connections and to have those people in all those different ways. And instead of just going to the gym and putting your head down and like slamming the weights and throwing them down on the ground, talk to other people no matter where you're at. There's even been interesting research on smiling at people, the effects of like people that rode buses and smiled at people and had engaged in conversation, um, the health and other benefits of just doing that. And I want you to know too that you can do that online. You can join communities online. When I work with clients, I'm going to talk a little bit more about social media. I don't love social media for many reasons, but the reason why I like it, what I recommend, is through some of these social media. I think Facebook is particularly good at that. You can join groups of other people that share similar interests. They might be going through the same life circumstances. They may be fans of the same artist or entertainer, but I think that you can find a lot of connections in these online virtual communities, people that because they share things with you already, you can find them informative, a resource, and supportive. Research has shown that the virtual communities still work for that. The third thing that I want to point out, and we'll talk about this more when we get my daughter in here, is that there is this relationship formula that was developed by somebody that was a relationship expert, Dr. Jack Schaefer. And he said, and there's been lots of research on this too, that relationship formula, there's four parts that go into having a solid relationship. And they are proximity, so how close people are to you physically, duration, intensity, and frequency. So there's those people, for example, that you see all the time, probably your partner, somebody that lives with you, right? You have duration, you have frequency, and you have proximity. They're near you. But let's say when you're in the house with them, all you're doing is looking at your phone and you're not talking and you don't have intensity. That one thing can create a lack of balance in that relationship. For example, if you live far away from people, and you don't have proximity, maybe you've known them a long time, so there's been duration, but you're not talking to them frequently and you can't mimic the proximity. You can by doing FaceTime, but if you lose those two, you'll find that that kind of waters down the relationship. And so there is a relationship formula. The last thing I want to point out before we go to break, and we'll talk about this with my daughter, is that your need for relationship and what you get out of put into relationships is going to change across the lifespan. Younger people, they're trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do. So they need personal and social support from their relationships because they're career building. In other parts in your life, when you're in family, you're building family, you're mid-career, you may use your relationships more for problem solving, for getting different perspectives, for getting emotional support. And then as we age and we get older with older folks, they may need relationships more for actual practical support. Like I need to someone to come over and bring me groceries, and also for just companionship. So we see that that changes over time, and that's okay. It's supposed to change. Who you're in relationship with, what those relationships look like, and what you need from them changes. So with that, we're going to head and hop into our break. And when we get back, my daughter is going to be here to talk more about relationship building. See you in 2 minutes.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Okay, we are back with Transformation Toolbox, and I have my guest in-house today because she lives in the house with me. My 19-year-old daughter, Sadie. Say hi.
Hi.
There she is. So we're going to talk about relationship building and forming positive relationships when you're younger, because the world is so much different. I think for Gen Z, you're Gen Z,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. I'm always fascinated by. I'm an old Gen Xer. I'm on the older range of the Gen Xers, so very different world. So, and Sadie went off to college last year. She just got done with her freshman year, so left, went out of state where she didn't know anybody. Tell me,
I knew one person.
You knew one person. One person from her high school went. She went to a small liberal arts college out of state. So, tell me, how did you form relationships and form like good positive relationships, like in a place where like I know one person?
Well, because I went early for a summer program, there was automatically a smaller number of us, and they kind of forced it, which we hated. Like, no one likes doing icebreakers, but through that like repetition of just meet these people, talk to these people, now go to this group, talk to this people. You just kind of figure out who you get along with. And then also, obviously, I became really, really close with my roommate. So throughout the year, the people she became friends with and the people I became friends with, we were like, wait, we're having to split our time. So we just merged our friends and created a friend group.
Uh-huh. So you're talking a little bit about proximity
Yeah.
which is one of the things in the relationship formula, because you're in a dorm, so you're around people all the time.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact there's people on your hall that you never ever spoke to.
Hmm.
So what made those people become your friend group, and how did you continue to like get to know each other and build the relationships as kind of the year went on?
We just spent a lot of time together. We just chose to build those relationships and have more meaningful conversations. I mean, a lot of topics came up randomly, and just I guess we all felt over time we felt safe with each other to share things. And because we dedicated that time, like we'd all have dinner together, or we choose, hey, let's all go study in the same spot. So even if you're not talking to each other,
Mhm.
just being able to see that person, and like life happens while you're at college. And those are the people you're going to share it with if you're spending, the day with them. So I think that just brought us a lot closer too, because people had stuff happen in their lives that was kind of big, and, they talked to us about it.
Okay. I asked you too about communication
Yeah.
because yeah, like back in the day there was no cell phone. So you picked up
Yeah.
this thing called a phone that you dialed, and I'm wondering, when I know you're with them a lot because
Hmm.
you're on campus, but you have friends that didn't go to college, with you that you've
Right.
had. How do you stay in communication? Like, what's the communication and keeping those friends that you had when you were younger?
Um, I mean, I really only kept 2 or 3, to be quite honest. It's it depends on the person. I have one friend who lives here that she'll call me a lot because she has more free time, and she's completely cool if I, like, put her on speaker while I do my laundry or something, and we'll just talk about our lives, and we still have things that connect us here, like, we babysit for the same family, so she'll FaceTime me with the kids. FaceTime is really nice because getting to see someone's face just adds another level of connection. And then I have one friend who I just know will always be there for me. We can go months without talking, but I know when I come back home, I'm going to hang out with her because
Mhm.
that's just how we are. We're close, even though we don't communicate that often.
Yeah. So I see you texting a lot, dingy ding, because
Well, yeah, group chats. But every
ding
every
ding.
notification comes through my text,
It's
even if it's
it's
a
it's a
club.
lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
So okay, it's not that much for
it's
you.
not that much.
See, that's the difference. Like your phone is dinging and dinging. You have all these notifications and ding, 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 and people texting you. And a lot of communication is done through text. So
Yeah.
I'm always curious, like, I can't convey emotion through text or get really deep into conversation through text.
Mhm.
But I see that folks in your friend group are texting a lot.
Yeah.
So how does that communication work when there's no verbal?
I mean, one, we already have the basis of we know each other. Like, we tend to know each other's intentions. Also, we're not really talking about deep stuff. No
Okay.
one's texting and being like, guys, my grandma died. I'm really out of it. I need help. Like, no. We're
Okay.
talking like, hey guys, look at this taco I made. Like, stuff like that. If you do need more direct support, someone's probably going to text you individually, not in a group chat, or call you or talk to you in person, like if you're there. But like, I don't know. We text a lot because it's just a really quick way to reach everyone. And when you're really busy, like no one has time for a phone call. I can't like be somewhere and answer my phone. But I can be in the grocery store and look at a text, or I can look at it later and just know they texted me.
Mhm.
Especially when you're communicating with like our group chat's like I think 8 or 9 people. So you can't if you try to call 8 or 9 people at the same time, that's chaotic.
So do you feel like a group chat you use it a lot with different friend groups?
Well, I just have one friend group.
Yeah.
But also, all my notifications from, like, my clubs and everything are done through an app called GroupMe, which is literally just an app of group chats, and they also notify me.
Mhm.
So, it's basically like if you need to know something either right then and there, or it's important enough for a lot of people to know about it, it's gonna go through my phone, not an email.
Okay. So I want to ask about this taco sharing because
That's
nobody, because like I think my generation is like like we don't take pictures of. I hope we don't take pictures of what we're eating. I mean, like this taco is fantastic. Like that's just not the level of communication I remember like having.
you didn't
But
have
you got no, we didn't
a
have
phone
that.
took photos,
No, we didn't have a phone that took photos, which
it's
I
not
think
really comparable.
right. But what I'm saying is, how does that? When we talk about building like positive relationships,
Mhm.
tell me what the role of just sharing those things, like look at this taco.
It's just contact. It's just a frequency of contact, just knowing like keeping updated on your life, like, just even just a silly photo of your friend at work. It's like, oh, look at them, or oh, I miss them. Like it's just like getting to see their face. It's nice. And it's just, I guess, frequency, because we're going from seeing each other like at times an overwhelming amount, like every waking minute I was with one of my friends, to
Yeah.
being, a 12-hour drive from some of my friends, or, we have people who are in different countries right now.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, I don't know, just like it helps us maintain contact and maintain frequency without it being like, I guess, a chore, because everyone's busy and everyone's in different time zones.
So it's quick.
It's very quick. It's easy. Like, you're not bothering anyone. You're not taking anyone away from what they're doing.
Mhm.
People can see it at any time they need to if they're in a different time zone.
Okay. So it sounds like it's that visual sharing is a way of saying, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm
Yeah,
up
like
to.
FaceTiming is obviously a bit more of a deeper connection. I like to do that too. Like, if I haven't talked to one of my friends in a while, instead
Mhm.
of just saying I'll call you, I'll say I'll FaceTime you, because you're still hearing their voice, having the same conversation, but you're seeing their face. They can show you things. You can, again, like you said, the tone, like facial expressions. Like, I'm
Right.
a big, like, I'm talking with my hands right now. I'm a like big body language type person, so it really helps.
Mhm. Okay. So social media, and we'll talk more about this. We'll go to a break in a couple minutes. But I had a very different philosophy from social media than some parents,
Mhm.
as I'll tell you guys, as a psychologist. Sadie could not have a cell phone and smartphone until she was in high school, and did not do social media until she was 16. I was very strict about that. So I think you have a different perspective on social media, but tell me how social media plays a role in like relationship building and communication.
I think social media is a really good way to stay updated on what people are doing when you're not close to them physically. So, like my friends from high school while I was in college, I'd get little updates on their life just by looking at Instagram, which is nice. It reminds you that person's there. It kind of shows you what other people are doing, other people's achievements. And for me, I'm not really comparing myself. So, for me, social media doesn't really have any downsides personally, because I just look at it and I'm like, oh, cool, that's what they're doing, or oh, wow, they're taking this course. Maybe I should think about that.
Hmm.
Nothing negative there. But yeah, and then connection wise, a lot of people use Snapchat, which I don't have.
Right.
And that is, again, when we were talking about frequency and repetition, that could be literally just a photo of your ceiling and something like, hey, and it's a snap streak. So the more days you
Oh
hold it, like the
boy.
better your friendship is, quote unquote. I don't have it because I know I'd get a little too obsessive with maintaining a streak, but a lot of people do that. A lot of people share to their Instagram stories. It's something you can broadcast. I use my Instagram story if I have a question, or like, hey, does anyone have size 6 black heels? Like, why would I text 100 different people when I can just post it on my Instagram story?
Hmm.
So it's also a way of just getting a message out there really quickly.
Hmm. And but you don't doom scroll or look at funny cat videos for 20 hours.
No, I don't have time for that. I mean, it's definitely a thing, especially with TikTok and
Yeah, I don't
Reels,
think
just
you
the
do. You do
algorithm.
TikTok? I don't think
I
you.
don't.
Oh, thank
My
God.
friends will send me Reels sometimes, but I definitely see how it can be very, very addicting. It's, quick hits of dopamine. And especially
Yeah.
when the
Right.
algorithm personalizes it for you, it's not like
Right.
you're getting bored. You're like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's like, ooh, this is cool. Ooh. And the more you're on it, the more
Yeah.
it learns you. And the more it learns you, the more you want to be on it. So I get how it can be very addictive.
Yeah. And I think that your relationship with social media is different because of just we had a very different
Yeah. And I know my
approach to
personality.
it, and you know yourself well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the break, and when we come back, we're going to talk. Sadie is a big joiner. We're going to talk about those kind of outer circle of clubs and things like that. So we will see you back in a couple of minutes.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to Transformation Toolbox. So I have my guest, my daughter, Sadie, who just finished her freshman year of college. We were talking about your close friends, and something that I talked about before I had you on was those outer circle of community engagement, social engagement, belonging to groups, clubs, something that you've always done, because I think I always stressed it. So tell me, you're still a joiner, I think.
Yeah.
You've been joining a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But my question is like, why and
Mhm.
what do you feel like you get out of it, and what are you getting out of it as a new college student?
One, I will say it's always been encouraged, whether it be from you, from the schools I've been in, from my dad. Like, I've never had anyone tell me, don't join a club. Or, like, obviously, I have to keep it balanced with my schoolwork and work. But I've always been encouraged to join clubs. So that's never been anything I've had to really think about. I kind of base it on one, like, is this something I'm interested? I don't go in going, oh, this will be a great way to make new friends. I go in being like, hey, this is good for either professional development. Like, I'm in a pre-med club and I don't really feel close with anyone there because we're just sharing resources on the MCAT or what to do if you want to be, like a med student, like stuff like that. And then I have other clubs that I did theater in high school, so I joined a dance club in college because I wanted to continue doing some form of performing. And it was really nice, also just like a stress reliever after
Mhm.
classes. And through that, I've made friends. But my purpose, like joining, was not to make friends. It just kind of happened naturally.
Mhm. So it sounds like you're looking as a way of getting information, connection, and resources that'll
Hmm.
help you with career, do the things you love. It sounds like a
Career,
mix of it.
skills. It's more like, am I interested in what this club is doing? Even if a bunch of my friends are in a club, if it's not something that interests me, I'm not going to join because, like, I don't really have the time to do things that aren't either for my career or for like joy.
Okay. Okay. Do you think, again, like you've been encouraged to do it, when you
Yeah.
look around at the people in your school, not everyone does it. I mean, what do you think because you're not like the spokesperson for Gen Z, but
Right. Right.
when you see others, there's people that join, there's people that kind of just put their head down and stay in their rooms and don't do, I mean, do you see differences in the people that do and that don't? I'm wondering, and how they build
I
relationships or
mean,
their friend groups or.
I think there's also a difference between whether you're joining like a sorority or fraternity and like an academic club.
Mm,
Like those are very different like needs you're trying to get met. I have a lot of friends in sororities and they absolutely love the sisterhood. It was something they were looking for. I do feel like people that join sororities and fraternities are a bit more cliquey just because like I don't know, you go through the rush process. You get really close with your friends, your sisters or brothers or whatever. So I understand that. But I will say most of my friends and most of the people at my school are in some club. Like it is very rare for there to be a person at my school not in any extracurricular activity. I have some friends that aren't, even though some of them are extroverts. I will say I think it's harder for introverts to do things like joining clubs just because putting yourself out there, new people, new environment, like it's scary. And I totally get that. Like I like to always invite a friend along if I can, especially if I know they're an introvert. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to this event. Do you want to come with me? And it can just really be nice to know someone there. But yeah, most people at my school are part of something. It's very rare for them not to be part of a club or a sorority or even have like an on-campus job
mhm.
because like your coworkers are also kind of like a outside circle, you could say. But the people that do, I don't really see that much difference in them. It's just at my school, it's really a time management thing. It's my friend that's not in any clubs is a triple major, triple minor.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Do you think that thing's balanced?
if it works for them, it works for them. Like,
Uh-huh.
it depends on your personality because some things give people energy and some take away. Like me, my dance club, physically it takes some energy away, but also gives me a lot because it's something I like doing. It's exciting. I can talk to my friends. So that's really uplifting for me.
Mhm.
But for someone else, that might be mentally and physically exhausting and something that actually detracts from their life. So
Mhm.
I think it just really depends what gives you energy.
Okay. Yeah. So you're with these people all the time now in college, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking about like after, how do you feel like you're going to continue those friendships? So that you have those like lifelong.
After college.
Yeah. So
Um,
in the way that, from a Gen Z perspective of, I don't think it's as easy. That's just what I'm saying.
it's not easy, and I don't imagine it will be. Like I said, I've only kept 1 or 2 friends from high
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
when I hung out with a lot of different people. I
Mhm.
think it just depends on the depth of connection. Like,
Mhm.
if it's someone that I spent a lot of time with, I shared a lot of personal details, we've gone through moments together, like, these people are gonna be with me for 4 years. I'm sure we're
Yeah.
gonna have some really low moments, and we'll probably come out better from it. I also think that this is my first time really being in a friend group. Like
Yeah.
we're a group, we're always a group. So I think some of the people that I have stronger ties with one on one will probably carry over after college. And some of the people that I still love, I still consider my friends, but they're my friends because they were originally friends with one of my other friends or they're dating one of my friends and then I got to know them. I think the people that I spend more time with one on one or who maybe I shared more stuff with, I've been more vulnerable with. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Someone I'm able to be vulnerable with. I
Sure.
think those people will carry over. And then also, if someone moves to the same city I moved to, like that's a big thing, especially for me. Like I'm pretty bad about contacting people when they're not right in front of me. Like I completely forget. Like
She forgets people
I zone
exist.
in on school or zone in on what's around me. So if someone moves like across the country and they're not good at contacting me either, I'm probably not going to talk to them for 5 years. Like I'm just being honest. So
Mhm.
I think it's depth and proximity still. That's big for me.
Yeah. How do you think when you look at how I am with my friends or, intergenerationally, when you look at people and how they deal with like forming and maintaining their friendships and building their support system, do you
Mhm.
see any differences?
I mean, I don't know that many people your age, but
Why is that? No, we'll go into that later. That's an interesting
I'm
question
on a
too.
college
It's,
campus.
well, there's faculty that are well, they're probably
You're
younger
not
than me.
supposed to be friends with faculty.
Okay, you're
That's
right.
weird.
Okay, not friends, but they're there to
I know
support
okay,
you.
I know most of them are young.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but you've had like the same friends for a very, very long time since
Yep.
some of them since elementary, but most of them since high school.
Yep.
But y'all don't talk that often.
No, it's true.
So I can relate to that with one of my friends who again I'm not in close proximity with. So it's interesting how you've kept up years and years of that relationship without being near each other. I think some of it is because the majority of your friends, they are near each other and you're the one that's like off.
Yeah, true.
Not off, but
And off.
And I think it also depends on like what's on in your life. If you still have a lot of commonalities, like you grew up in similar cultures, like you grew up with a lot of the same life experiences, and that really shapes who you are as a person. So y'all are still similar in that way, even if you have different careers, different family structures, all that, you still have some pretty strong ties.
Because I think we're very different now.
You are.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think is like the lessons that you learned or the things that you want to communicate about, you know, having like good, strong, supportive relationships, even at this point in your life and how you build them? Because I think well, it's not a mystery to me, but I think for some of us that are older, it's just it feels so different. And sometimes it feels so superficial and sometimes it feels so it does, I think it
Yeah.
does. It just does, but it doesn't sound like it. So when I talk to you, that's not what I get from that it's not superficial.
No,
And but it maybe it's just
I
more
have a lot of
visual.
acquaintances or
Yeah.
people who I consider friends but not close friends, and I think I can see how that could be superficial because I might just see them on Friday nights and take a cute picture with them and be like, "Oh my gosh, the love of my life" on Instagram or something, when obviously they're not the love of my life. They're like a friend I talk to once every 2
Oh
weeks.
boy.
But like they're still my friend. I'm still going to smile at them. Like if they need anything, they can come to me. So I think that's maybe where that kind of superficial feeling comes from. But I don't know. My takeaway from college would be like
Or from just, high
life.
school life in
High
your
school and
19 years of life.
high school was a little rough because everyone was so. I went to a K through 12 school, but I came in ninth grade. So the
Mhm.
majority of people had their moms knew each other when they were pregnant.
Yeah.
So they were like bonded for life, all that. So it was a little hard to break into. Um, which is why I became friends with the people who were also trying to break into it.
Right.
So I don't
Right.
know. But for college, I'd say you don't like force friendship. A lot of it, you'll be like, I don't even remember how we became friends. Like, you're one of my closest friends, and I don't even remember meeting you.
Mhm.
And then I'd say, don't be afraid of conflict.
Mm.
Like, obviously, you don't want to be fighting with your friends all the time. And I never had any conflict with anyone really in elementary, middle, or high school, friendship wise. And now I'm seeing a lot of conflict in my college friendships, not just between me, but between other people as well. But it's because we're all a lot more open with each other.
Mhm.
We're all from way different backgrounds.
Mhm.
Um, but also just if you put in the effort to work through conflict, you're probably going to come out stronger. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big lesson, not to shy away from it.
Yeah. And I'm wondering too how you balance, and this is the last thing we'll end on, but how do you balance this notion of you guys seem like open books to
Yeah.
us, right? To us that did not grow up with social media and put pictures of everything up there, like it feels uncomfortable, but it's very different. So there's this juxtaposition of
Well,
like everything is out there about me, but I'm not sharing everything. Then there's
it's
vulnerability, which is completely
yeah,
different of sharing who you are, not just all this is the picture of what I'm putting out
yeah.
there. So how do the last thing we'll
Um,
talk about is how do you balance that?
I think it really depends on the person and what they choose to put on social media. For me, I can be a little more open because I have a private account. Like I don't want random people following me. It's a security thing. Like I'm a teenage girl still. Like I don't want a bunch of random guys trying to follow me.
That's right.
Um, yes, I know. I could have figured that out on my own though. But yes, you did lead me the right way. But because I have a private account, I feel more comfortable sharing things. Some people are using social media, like they're using their life stories to, like, I don't know, make their social media bigger. Like, not my friends, but that's what influencers are.
Right.
Like, family vloggers, mom talk, all of that. Like, it's kind of crazy, but people have an experience. They go, how can I monetize this? Social media,
That's completely different
which
than
is really different.
It's different than relationship
It's
building.
not relationship.
It's not connection.
No. But
Okay.
it is because, parasocial relationships and stuff like that, which is a
Yeah.
whole nother thing that
Right.
we don't
Another
have time
topic.
to get into, but
Right.
it's really interesting
Yeah.
if listeners want to do research into that.
Yeah. Look up parasocial
Yeah, but
relationships. Whole nother
we're not
topic.
all open about everything, but I just think we have more methods to share things.
True.
And so it's like, oh, I can share this real quick, or hey, maybe my friend would want to see this. It's a lot easier than maybe when you were growing up. You had to you had to call someone or go to their house to tell them about
rotary
something.
dial a phone.
Yeah, it's not as easy. And if you wanted to tell multiple people, you have to do that 10 times.
Yeah.
I can just click the button.
Yeah, true.
So it makes sharing more easier.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to our break and we're going to say goodbye to Sadie. When we come back, I'm going to talk about 8 tools to help build and sustain and strengthen relationships. So we'll go to the break now. Sadie, thank you for spending this time with me. Did you just do the loves of Gen Z Heart? She's a lot of people are not watching, they're listening, but she's just doing the Gen Z Heart motion.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go to break. We'll see you back in a couple minutes.
Mike Zoric, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zoric, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zoric has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for my daughter for spending time with us. So I want to spend the rest of the time this afternoon talking about some tools from the toolbox that you can use to build and maintain and strengthen your relationships, your positive relationships. So the first thing I want to mention is do not fear rejection. I think we need to get over our fear of people rejecting us. That leads us to not want to form new relationships, to not go out and meet new people. And look, most people want to be connected to other people. That's what I found in my life. We all want some kind of connection. There'll be a few times where you're going to be rejected. We're all going to be rejected. But move forward despite your fear, because the reward that you get from that little bit of risk is tenfold for making and forming new and potentially lifelong lasting friendships. So get over the fear of rejection. Just walk through it. You can do it. The second thing is to know about people, to really understand who they are, what they're about. That means approaching relationships with curiosity, asking a ton of questions. to have no expectations for what the answers will be, and don't make assumptions. I think people make a lot of assumptions, even just based on appearance. They don't approach people. Quit with the assumptions, quit with the expectations, and just lead with curiosity. Ask a lot of questions. Ask people not only factual information, but their likes and dislikes, their hopes, their beliefs, their fears, their dreams, everything about them. And I like asking a lot of questions first. People love to talk about themselves, and then you can share something about you. As they share, you can share. So really get to know people. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I find it that sometimes we don't. Um, so the third thing is really lead with positivity and let people know that they're cared about and they're valued. I think we take people for granted sometimes in relationships. Um, Look, I had my friend of almost 40 years die 6 months ago. It was my best friend, my ride or die. There's so many things I wish I would have done and said. So, what I want to say about that is always let them know that they're valued, that you love them, that you care about them, that you're excited to be with them. Do things that show kindness, those little acts of kindness, like put a little, like when I used to make my daughter lunch, I used to put a little note in her lunchbox, or drop by and see them unexpectedly, or send them something, or do something, or take them out to a place that you know that they'll like. I think we need to demonstrate that we value them, instead of taking it for granted, not through words, but through deeds and through those small acts of kindness. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is to really accept people's differences. And people are different. Everyone is different. And I think that we have sometimes a misperception is that we have to click with everybody, that they have to like the same things and want the same things. And you're just, oh, this person has so much in common with me. I just click, click, click with them. But that's not really what relationships are about and friendships are about. I mean, family relationships. There's a lot of complexity there. And I think we need to learn how to understand, talk about, and accept people's differences and celebrate those differences, because you can learn so much about being friends and being close and in relationship, especially even with coworkers too, to people that are very, very different. It's not just people that are like you that are going to enrich your life. The other thing is the fifth thing: solve your solvable problems. Do not let problems linger that are situational. Misunderstandings, misperceptions, misinterpretations, those little nagging things that come up, and I've seen them ruin relationships, just ruin them, because we don't talk about them and we bury them. So solve the solvable, fixable problems, which means own what you did, share your feelings, calm down, figure out what the heck triggered you, use your I statements, apologize if you have to, forgive when you need to, and repair the relationship. That's what's important. So get to it. Don't let things linger. Another thing that I really want to talk about is do things to create kind of shared meaning and shared rituals. It's rituals and symbols and things that bind us together. So that can be everything from having family meals together, to having a game night, to doing things online together. It's kind of what people do when they have these weird signals or code words, or the looks when you want to leave someplace, like we need to get out of here. That's all what I mean by shared meaning. And what it takes is just doing things with people, doing activities. I'm about to go on a trip with two of my best friends. We do a girls' trip every year. So it's doing those things that create those rituals, those meanings, those memories that bind us together. Another thing I want to talk about is to value people's growth. They are growing, you are growing and changing, they are too. I want you to forget about your fear of people outgrowing you. I hear people talk about this. They're going to outgrow me, they're going to leave me, they're going to move on. Don't worry about any of that. You have to value their growth, because people are going to grow and change. They're going to go through many life phases, and they're going to make a lot of decisions that you don't agree with. But you still have to support them. So people that are in relationship with other people want the best for them. That's part of it, right? You want the best for them. The last thing I want to say is to use tech for connection. There's a lot of ways that we can use social media and technology for awful reasons that bring us tons of despair and comparison and anxiety and worry. But tech can also be used. I think my daughter talked about this. You can use things like FaceTime and Zoom to connect with people visually that aren't in proximity to you, to continue those relationships. You can use Facebook is great with Facebook groups. You can post pictures, you can share things, you can do thoughtful posts to share information for people that live all over the world that maybe were part of your life. I'm connected to tons of people that I went to grade school and elementary and high school with on Facebook because I'm old, so I use Facebook. But you can use tech for connection. You can join groups. It doesn't have to be the other way. Take control of it and really use it to connect with others. So my article where I take a deeper dive into the 8 tools that I just talked about is always online at my website, lifebydesigncoaching.org. That's lifebydesigncoaching.org. You can go there. It'll be on my homepage. You can also sign up for a free coaching session. I do free coaching consultations. I'm a life, career, and life transitions coach. So you can do that online. And I hope that you will join me next week. We're going to be talking about meaning and purpose with my good friend, Dr. Debbie Billings, who is an amazing public health practitioner that works all over the world doing maternal and child and women's health. She's a person that lives on purpose all the time. So I hope you join me for that on Wednesdays at 1:00. But in this week before we get together again, I want you to be good to yourself, be in service to other people, and fight for the things you care about. I'll see you next week. Thank you for spending this hour with me, Dr. Elizabeth Medlock, on Transformation Toolbox, where we explore ways to reimagine, revitalize, redesign, and reinvent your life and career. Join me every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Bold Brave TV, powered by B2 Studios.